this thing live. See, cover in the yenzeka ngakhona as it's happening.
But as coordinators, it is your responsibility to collect food parcels from a venue you are just getting from the DSG. As soon as the President joins us, we will proceed to reading the declaration, and then the President
Okay.
will do his closing remarks.
So are we done testing?
Bus coordinators, you will get the food parcels in Hall 5. Food parcels in Hall 5. Yeah. President Ulan Patoban manje ngoba basilibazisa. Huh? B. Akho umuntu pa. NGC, comrades. This was a very good NGC. And I now call upon Comrade Jeff to deliver the declaration of the NGC. Kabane, ibambe lapho. Ibambe kabane. Comrades, it's very good to sing. Kumnandi kodwa ke ake sivale. Comrades, leaders of delegations, ake nibabambe. We are late already. Comrades, we are late, we are behind time. Siyavuma sinavalo. Thank you, comrades. Thank you. Comrade Jeff Radebe. Comrade Jeff, can you please come and deliver the declaration?
Thank you very much, Tumi, and welcome once again to Gallagher Estate, where we are right at the tail end of this National General Council. Members of the ANC are going to be leaving here very soon with a sense of achievement, a sense that the 3 days that they've spent here were indeed worthwhile, that they managed to do the critical evaluation they were supposed to do over the past 3 days to make sure that their party is ready to go forward, and with that to move South Africa forward. Well, without much ado, we will get to the detail of the other stuff a little later on. For now, though, let's go straight to the podium, and that is where the ANC's head of policy, Jeff Radebe, has just started reading the declaration, whereafter President Jacob Zuma will be giving that concluding speech. Let's go straight to the podium and listen to Jeff Radebe.
And tendencies inconsistent with the values of the African National Congress threaten the effectiveness of our movement as an instrument of liberation. This is a critical moment for the national democratic revolution, containing both great possibilities for decisive advances and a significant risk of reversal. All people, our sectors, must harness their collective will and efforts towards creating a better life for all. Therefore, we reaffirm our resolve to root out corruption, factionalism, buying of members, and gatekeeping. We agreed to reinforce measures to inculcate within our cadreship the values of service, selflessness, integrity, and discipline. This NGC paid particular attention to the standing, capacity, and powers of the Integrity Commission established following a resolution of the 53rd National Conference. We agreed that the decisions of the Integrity Commission are binding and that the Commission should be better resourced to fulfill its mandate. To confront the practice of factionalism in leadership elections, we agreed that the formalization of lobby groups and the promotion of slates should be disciplinary offenses. Branch delegates should vote according to their branch mandate at elective conferences. And the practice of consolidating preferences at regional or provincial levels must end. The ANC branch is at the center of our work and must ensure that members are actively engaged in political work and communities are mobilized to effect change in their lives. We agreed that the archives are immense importance and we must dedicate more resources to capture our history and preserve our records. Therefore, the Liberation Heritage Institute should become a national resource located in the state to provide South African society with significant insight into the struggle against colonialism and the struggle against apartheid. The NGC recognizes the advances our movement and government have made towards the emancipation of women and the promotion of gender equality. Nevertheless, we commit to intensifying efforts for the total liberation and empowerment of women. We emerge from this National General Council with a clear sense of the task we must undertake to advance the struggle for economic freedom, recognizing that we do so under difficult international and domestic economic conditions. The global economic crisis continues to negatively impact on the economies of the developing countries, with low global growth and depressed commodity prices being the emerging challenges. We have accordingly agreed to accelerate efforts to mitigate job losses in vulnerable sectors and create new opportunities in potentially job-creating areas. Uniting all South Africans around the National Development Plan to promote inclusive growth and development and eradicate the triple scourge of unemployment, poverty, and inequality is an imperative. We agreed to address weaknesses that exist in several agencies of the state. The capacity of the democratic developmental state to coordinate implementation of policy is critical for optimal utilization of our human and material resources in order to maximize the impact of our programs and projects. We must intensify increased job creation and employment opportunities through mechanisms such as localization, SMMEs, and cooperative support, and instruments like the procurement set-asides and increased ownership and participation by Black people in the economy, with a particular focus on the youth and women and people with disability. Ownership of land is an integral part of economic transformation. We support current proposed ceilings on different forms of land ownership and use, and this should find expression through the introduction of legislation. We must consider legal options with regard to land currently owned by foreign nationals within the context of what the Constitution provides. We must review agricultural financing in order to ensure that financing models are favorable to developing farmers. The NGC welcomes measures to make quality education more accessible to all. We should increase the number of young people in postgraduate programs. The NGC noted that overall crime continues to decline. However, rates of violent crime remain stubbornly high despite the initiatives aimed at crimes such as murder and armed robbery. We call on all our people to join hands in the fight against crime. We shall take particular steps to combat the killing of police. Gender-based violence and safety of people from contact crimes is a societal responsibility that we must address. Our government must move with speed on an integrated response through the criminal justice system. The ANC, together with its alliance partners, must work together with communities to mobilize against alcohol and substance abuse. We agreed that the ANC must intensify its involvement in the battle of ideas. Further, we should accelerate the radical transformation of the ICTs as a means to contribute to economic growth and development. The corporate governance challenges facing the SABC should be resolved speedily so that that institution can fulfill its public responsibility. We reaffirm the urgent need for media transformation, accountability and diversity, and this includes the parliamentary inquiry on the feasibility and desirability of a media appeals tribunal in line with the Constitution. We remain seized of the task of building a new and better world in Africa. The ANC reiterates our support for regional integration and Agenda 2063, the AU's development program. The ANC remains committed to internationalism, and we support the struggle for national self-determination and a multilateral approach to the management of global issues. We reiterate our solidarity with the people of Palestine and support the isolation of businesses in the United Nations list that operate in occupied territories in Palestine. We advocate for the self-determination, freedom and independence of Western Sahara. We support the call by Cuba for the return of the Guantanamo Bay and the lifting of United States economic embargo against Cuba. The National General Council noted the processes underway under the auspices of the African Union, including South Africa, to review Africa's participation in the International Criminal Court. We welcome the adoption of the Sustainable Developmental Goals by the UN General Assembly as a firm global covenant to bring about a more equitable, sustainable, and just world. The NGC recognizes that for the ANC to continue the process of transforming our society and to realize the objectives of this phase of our struggle, it is imperative that we retain our decisive mandate from our people. We will therefore work very hard to ensure that we gain an overwhelming majority in the upcoming local government elections through consolidating our support base and winning new constituencies. The Back to Basics program should be at the core of building an effective and efficient local government. Reversing apartheid geography by ensuring spatial integration and accelerating access to basic services is achievable through strengthening integrated planning and delivery mechanism across all spheres of government. We should fast-track the implementation of the Presidential Commission review of provinces. We thank our sister parties from the former liberation movements for their support and participation during this NGC. The ANC continues to reflect the hope and embody the aspirations of South African people. Our movement remains the most effective instrument for the achievement of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and prosperous South Africa. We close this National General Council conscious of the great responsibilities on our shoulders, individually and collectively, to strive for and achieve a better South Africa, a better Africa, and a better world. We should move with agency, with conscientiousness and consciousness. As we leave here, we recall the closing statement of the 3,000 delegates who gathered at the Congress of the People in Kliptown on the 26th of June 1955, 60 years ago. I quote, "Let all those who love their people and their country now say, as we say here, these freedoms we will fight for, side by side, throughout our lives, until we have won our liberty."
Thank you very much, Comrade Jeff. Thanks, comrades. We now call on President Jacob Zuma to come and deliver the closing address. But comrades, I take it the declaration has been agreed to. Ele two.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry, Chair. Sorry, Chair. Just one. Sorry, Chair.
Yes, Ubani.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
I'm Itumele Musala from the Northwest Province.
Yes.
There's one area which we think we need to make an addition on the declaration. It's on page 2.
NGC ayisavumi.
No, Chair.
Sivumelene nge-declaration.
That particular paragraph, Chair.
Sivumelene.
And through the eye of the...
Comrade Chair. Comrade Chair.
Amanza awethu matla ya rona matimba kaina all power. Thank you very much, comrades. Comrade Deputy President, Comrade National Chairperson, ANC officials, members of the National Executive Committee, members of our tripartite alliance plus SANCO, veterans of our struggles, our special guests, the international friends from China, India, Brazil, Russia, Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Namibia. Comrade delegates, we have come to the end of our most successful and most productive National General Council of the ANC. We end on a higher note because the
National General Council has been marked by high level of robust discussion and discipline. We congratulate all the delegates for reaffirming the standing of the ANC as a leader of society and as a disciplined, vibrant, and dynamic instrument for social change. One of our unique strengths as the ANC are self-criticism and self-correction. In opening this National General Council, we presented serious and uncomfortable challenges affecting the movement and invited delegates to engage these in the commissions and provide solutions. The reports from the commissions have indicated that indeed serious reflection went into the discussions. Organization building and renewal was a key factor in this National General Council in our determination to rebuild the ANC and renew the character of our glorious movement. We announced that our membership figures stood at 769,820 and 70 members, down from 100.2 million in 2012. This correctly shocked the delegates and membership because we all wanted to see a growing ANC all the time. As always, such a figure at the conference reflects audited members in good standing. As is also known, this is usually lower than the figures on the database, which would include all categories such as those whose membership had lapsed, those who are still on probation, and those who have been, unfortunately, victims of gatekeeping and membership system administrative problems. The ANC membership tends to grow leading up to elective conferences. The NGC has also taken resolutions to improve the membership administration system and to eliminate tendencies such as gatekeeping and the bulk buying of votes. With the implementation of all our remedial actions, we intend to have all 1.3 million names that are currently on the database to be confirmed as members in good standing sooner, or at least by 2017. Let us all work hard to achieve that goal. Comrades, the strengthening of ANC branches to enable them to perform their constitutional tasks has been emphasized by the NGC. The ANC branch manual clarifies the role of the branch as follows. It says, and I quote, "The branch is the basic unit of the ANC and the most important structure in the movement. It is in the branch that ANC members put to use their skills, energy, political insight, and experience in a program to transform society. The branch is the means through which we organize our people. It is the branch which must identify ANC sympathizers and supporters who can be recruited as ANC members, and through political induction and involvement in the programs of the movement can be developed into tried and tested cadres. It is the ANC branch which is the first point of contact with the broader community. The branch must respond to the needs and interests of the community and provide clear direction to the community on the most important issues facing it. A healthy, active, and growing branch is a key to a strong, influential, and successful ANC, unquote. And comrades, I would advise you to go and read the manual of the branches. It is long. It tells it all. How to go about to work to strengthen the branch. After all, if you talk about organization building, at the center of it is organizing the branch and making the branch to function. So it is important that all of us read the manual. We indeed urge comrades to seriously read the branch manual. If we implement its directives, we will not have problems in ensuring the correct functioning of the branches. Let us also grow the ANC, not only in terms of quantity, but also quality. Political education, therefore, remains paramount. But I must say, you indeed demonstrated quality in the debate as you engage on these issues. Let us deepen it. In this regard, the NGC has agreed to reinforce measures to inculcate within our cadreship the values of service, selflessness, integrity, and discipline. Beyond membership, the ANC also needs to win back all our traditional supporters who have been dissatisfied ahead of the local government elections. We will win them back based on how we conduct ourselves as members and also how we implement the good policies of the ANC. The matters of promoting unity, discipline, cohesion, respect, and the restoration of order in the organization have been endorsed wholeheartedly by the NGC. The NGC has also reaffirmed our resolve to root out corruption and factionalism. In this regard, the NGC has agreed that the Integrity Commission should be fully supported and resourced so that it can promote ethical behavior within the ANC. However, the NGC has also cautioned that the Integrity Commission should not be abused for factional purposes or as an instrument to fight certain individuals within the movement. To enhance the fight against corruption in the movement, in government and the private sector, the NGC has recommended the following. 1, civil servants, including those in the security cluster, should be prioritized, periodically rotated from one employment site to another, so as to circumvent growth of unprofessional and frequently corrupt relations with citizens. Service providers and other persons they interact with and or are responsible for. 2, government should conduct a lifestyle audits for all employees of the state and its related entities. 3, the vetting process should be expedited for government employees and its related entities. 4, there should be a single vetting agency for the state to vet all strategically placed civil servants, including state-owned enterprises, including those who reject promotion even though it comes with an improved remuneration package. But you know, as a phone, we don't know. The ANC Deployment Committee should also ensure proper vetting is undertaken prior to deployment of comrades. The ANC also challenges the private sector to subject itself to instruments of financial interest, disclosure, vetting, and lifestyle audits. Comrades, this National General Council has centered its discussions on measures to accelerate economic growth, create jobs, reduce poverty, and improve livelihoods. In its deliberations on the economy, a number of resolutions were taken, and I will mention just a few. Given the stress in the mining sector as a result of the current low commodity price cycle, the ANC calls on parties to exercise restraint and moderation in order to save jobs and to sustain the sector's potential for future growth and development. The ANC has also called for a speedy promulgation of the amendments for the Mining and Petroleum Resources Development Act to remove uncertainty. The NGC has also called for the resolution of the current dispute over the interpretation of the terms of the country's mining charter is also urgently required. To promote energy security, the implementation of the energy mix is a priority, including coal, renewables, gas, nuclear, and hydro. The recommendation by the Presidential Operation Pakisa program to advance offshore oil and gas exploration should be implemented, but in a manner that does not damage South Africa's water and other environmental resources. Comrades, the ANC fully supports ongoing efforts by the network constituencies to advance discussions on a minimum wage in the South African economy. On black economic empowerment, the NGC resolved that greater conceptual clarity is required in order to improve and broaden the transformative impact of our various black economic empowerment initiatives. The NGC noted that while we have made progress in some areas, there have also been reversals and unintended consequences with regard to some of the BEE interventions. Processes need to be undertaken to iron out such problems and to develop more sophisticated mechanisms to achieve BEE-related economic transformation. The NGC called for a review of the Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act to engage the implementation of set-asides that work more effectively in promoting black businesses. The NGC also directed government to take all necessary steps to save South Africa's steel production industry. However, such assistance and protection should be conditional on the steel producers giving firm and specific undertakings with regard to job retention, future investment commitments, and future pricing, which will facilitate downstream competitiveness. Comrades and friends, the NGC directed that the 50-50 parity between men and women principle must be implemented in full in the ANC and in government. Preferential procurement rules need to be amended to make specific allocation to women enterprises, including cooperatives. The NGC has supported the need to review legislation to facilitate the removal of unused and inequitable water rights allocations in order to ensure a more equitable distribution of water. proposal is that national government should be the custodian of water, and water trading will be abolished. On human settlement, the ANC government should implement the military veterans housing program and the human settlements and gender empowerment program. In addition, the mining towns human settlements program, including basic services, must be prioritized. The NGC also resolved that we must improve our monitoring of RDP houses, and the resale of RDP houses must be prevented. Comrades, to promote sports, the NGC resolved that the sport funding model in government needs to be completely overhauled so that sports can meet its mandate, and that this requires the necessary levels of investment by all of government, including allocation from all provinces from the equitable share. Comrades and friends, the ANC has called for a speedy review of the powers of the school governing bodies, the fast-tracking of the introduction of inspectors in schools, and to build more schools in villages and townships, especially special schools. The NGC has also expressed support to the annual national assessments in schools and have urged that challenges relating to its implementation must be resolved. The NGC has welcomed the launch of Operation Pakisa on information and communication technologies in schools and has urged the use of ICT nationally in our schools. Comrades, we need to confront the findings that Black African children receive 3.5 hours of teaching per day as opposed to 6.5 hours in former whites-only schools, as revealed in a study. This results in a 3-year gap in their schooling career. In this regard, let me reiterate our call to all teachers to be in school on time, in class, on task teaching for at least 7 hours a day. The ANC will engage SADU in this regard. The NGC will intensify the implementation of programs to curb the scourge of teenage pregnancy, and such programs will target both the boy and the girl child. The ANC government was directed to fast-track the implementation of the National Health Insurance and for funds to be made available for this purpose. Comrades, the achievement of radical economic transformation depends on progress in building a capable developmental state. We have resolved to urgently and comparatively address weaknesses that exist in several agencies of the state. The NGC reiterated that provinces must be reviewed to strengthen the democratic state and its developmental mandate, as well as the allocation of powers and functions, planning across government. An ANC task team will interface with government to ensure implementation of the resolution. With regards to our preparations for elections, the NGC has noted the voting trends in the metros and that this requires the movement to review its strategies. With regard to rural development and land reforms, the NGC on this issue says that there is progress, and indeed the willing buyer, willing seller policy has been addressed through the promulgation of the Property Evaluation Act 2014, which will codify the just and equitable principle as reflected in Section 25 of the Constitution. The NGC has resolved that government should continue to strengthen the security of tenure for farm workers. The extension of security of tenure amendment bill will be an important step in this direction. Land rights for people in communal areas should be formalized such that security of tenure is secured and such land can have commercial value. In order to ensure against the risk of people becoming landless in this process, a limitation clause in the title deed giving the state the right of first refusal must be secured. The NGC resolved that there should be equitable access to land for women and that their interests be protected. Unemployed graduates as well as youth from rural areas should receive dedicated support and be prioritized in access to land through the lease of state land. The expropriation amendment bill currently before Parliament is critical to ensure that the state is able to expropriate land in terms of the Constitution and should be expedited. We resolved that the policy conference should finalize the details of the policy on the ownership of land by foreign nationals. The National General Council supports the current proposed ceilings on different forms of land ownership and use, and this should find expression through the introduction of legislation. On land tenure, it was noted that the introduction of the regulation of land holdings bill will introduce the Land Commission and go a long way in resolving current disputes. The bill will also introduce land ceilings as outlined in previous conference resolutions. Comrades, on international relations, the NGC confirmed the support for the African Union Agenda 2063 vision, recognizing that it is a continuation of African Renaissance philosophy, and recommended that as a movement, it is incumbent upon us to popularize the 7 aspirations. The aspirations are: 1, a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. 2, an integrated continent, politically united, based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism. 3, an Africa of good governance, democracy, human rights, justice, and the rule of law. 4, a peaceful and secured Africa. 5, an Africa where development is people-driven, relying particularly on potential of women and youth. And Africa as a strong and influential global player and partner. The ANC disagrees with the double standard and selective actions of the International Criminal Court. In this regard, the NGC has recommended that government reviews South Africa's membership of the ICC. Comrades, our last important assignment as chair of G77 plus China will be to lead the group to Paris for the United Nations Framework for Climate Change Convention negotiations in defense of the Durban Platform of Action, informed by the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and capabilities. On communications, the ANC has resolved to accelerate the implementation of ANC conference resolutions regarding media transformation, accountability, and diversity. This includes a parliamentary inquiry on the feasibility and desirability of a media appeals tribunal in line with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Comrades and friends, the ANC carries the hopes of millions of South Africans. We remain seized with the responsibility of working to achieve a truly united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society. This NGC has taken us a step further towards the implementation of that goal. We go back with a clear mandate to grow the ANC and ensure that it further consolidates democracy and that it continues to lead our people to prosperity. Comrades, let me remind all that preparatory work for the local elections has begun, and all cadres must put shoulder to the wheel to ensure a decisive victory for the ANC in 2016. Comrades, we thank all the delegates who were here, who participated enthusiastically to discuss the matters of their organization and displayed a very high quality of understanding and indeed very disciplined. We would like also to thank local and international guests who have been with us from the beginning to now. Your being with us made us feel warm and supported by the globe. You represented the world. We'd like to thank all who have participated to ensure the success of our National General Council. We also thank ANC staff for their hard work, as well as the law enforcement agencies and all services and service providers. This is your organization. This is the organization of the people, the African National Congress, the hope of the millions of our people. In the last few days, we met and communicated with the country about their organization, addressed challenges, and emerged with solutions, as we always do. Comrades and friends, may you all have a safe journey home. Thank you for your being with us. Amandla! Awethu! Matla! Yarona! Lumhla sibuyayo, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi tu. Ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi tu. Ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla mhla sibuyayo kuthula kuthitu kokha okuduma embamba phezulu kwentamo kokha okuduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Thank you very much. Siyabonga.
Well, with that, we come to the end of the ANC's National General Council, which started at this very hall 2 days ago. Well, it was a weekend of discussions, most of them, of course, happening behind closed doors. We were getting briefings from time to time about the issues that were being discussed and how intense those debates were. Well, if anything, the resolutions that have been taken here will indeed, or at least the party faithful hope that the resolutions will take their party forward as it seeks an overwhelming mandate come next year's election, and of course as the party moves to the 27 elective conference, where they hope to inject impetus into their leadership, but also into the programs that they hope will help South Africa move forward. But with me, of course, is Aldrin Sampier, who has been with me throughout the National General Council. This, of course, being his first. It was your first, Aldrin. Just take us through what you observed and the things that went through your mind as you got to witness the leadership of the ANC speaking about a whole range of issues that are going to their approaches to a whole range of issues that are going to affect this nation, but perhaps also, the enthusiasm of their membership as they engage with their leadership on matters that they believe are very important, not only to their organization, but to the growth and development of our nation.
Well, of course, as you indicated, that this is my first National General Council that I've ever attended, but the President has said that this is the most successful for the ANC compared to the other conferences that they had before. And you know, obviously, what happened in 2005 and 2010, and I was basically relying all my knowledge on you guys, you know. But the sense that you get from all the delegates who have attended here is that they look forward to next year, the municipal elections, and they believe that they can bring the ANCs that decisive victory that they want. But we're walking out of this conference, I guess there will be some talking points, and one of those obviously would be that confirmation today that the ANC wants government to review and withdraw from the ICC.
Well, for those of us who sort of covered these, I covered the very first NGC in Port Elizabeth, and I've been part of it, throughout the years. Maybe we've sort of become immune to certain things, or seeing new and interesting things. Just, any special moments for you that sort of stood out, things that you perhaps took for granted or you never knew were sort of approached the way you got to witness them being said or being done?
I have to say, when you attend most government events, it's quite difficult to get a hold of ministers. But this time around, in such an environment, it's quite easy. They even call you by your name, for instance, and they speak to you quite frankly. They would stand with you and speak to you and try to make you understand where the party stands and some of the party's policies and some of the procedures. You would remember that there were lots of reports that there will be policies that would be adopted here. But these ministers have come out and they've said that, no, this is not a policy conference. This is actually where we review policies. And that was quite interesting and quite insightful as well, that these ministers as well as politicians were so accessible.
Aldrin Sampier, my colleague, together with the rest of the team, we will of course be keeping tabs on the resolutions that were taken here. We will follow through on some of the things that have been said and promised here as the ANC moves to next year's election, and of course beyond that as it goes to elect its new leadership. One of the highlights of this particular NGC being a comment made by President Jacob Zuma Zuma that he won't be seeking re-election. A lot, of course, may follow that particular announcement. We'll, of course, be keeping tab on those things and more. For now, though, it's a goodbye from me, Vuya Mvoko.
And goodbye from me, Aldrin St. Pierre.